great guest with us today, Jimmy Peña. Now, he is an exercise physiologist and a celebrity one at that. LL Cool J, Tyler Perry, to name a few, and he's also a best-selling author. Now, the name of his book that we're discussing today, it's called Pray Fit, Your Guide to a Healthy Body and a Stronger Faith in 28 Days. So today you're going to be getting a kickstart on how to do just that.
That's right.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. So good to be here.
This unique blend of faith and fitness. You had a sort of a revelation about this, didn't you?
I did. You know, we're so excited about PrayFit and PrayFit.com and just becoming a place for believers to get together and share stories of health and their battles and their struggles and victories. You know, I've been so blessed to work with celebrities, like you said, and magazines and books. And I'm sitting in an office at the palatial headquarters of Muscle and Fitness Magazine worldwide. And I'm sitting there and I see the founder of fitness and bodybuilding, Mr. Joe Weider, coming out of his office one day. And he's bent over 90 degrees with the use of a walker. And he's coming out of his office and he walks right in front of a statue of himself, a bronze statue of him in his prime. And he walks right in front of it, and it dawned on me as I'm sitting in this palatial office, I said, you know what, life is not about the body. And here I am, a fitness expert, a believer in this industry, and I realized, you know, life's not about the body, but we should take care of the body that carries the soul. You know, like C.S. Lewis said, you know, you don't have souls, you are souls. You have bodies. So really the combination of the two, it kind of hit me. It's been 5 years since that kind of came to my mind. And so Pray Fit, this book, is a combination of those things to take care of the body that carries the soul. You know, there are a lot of things that aren't going to last this life, like our money and other things, but we're still called to be good stewards of it. And that's all Pray Fit's about. Be good steward of the body that He's given us.
And that is a wonderful message, because I know that trying to stay fit can be such a tug of war with all of us. And one excuse that people can make in a moment of frustration is, well, God only cares about the soul, not the body. And this is an issue that you deal with in your book.
That's correct. You know, in 1 Timothy 4:8 it says, "For physical training has some value, but training in godliness has value now and in the life to come." And I think what we've done as believers, we kind of skip over the first part of that verse when we say, for physical training has some value. And what we believe, that some value is our time on earth. That's some value. It's not, yes, these bodies won't last, but we should start taking care of them. I mean, these bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, and they deserve better attention and upkeep than what we're giving them. So it really is, you know, the era of, you know, patting the belly saying, you know, good Lord only looks at the heart. You know, those days have got to end, you know, because if we neglect our physical, then that's a heart issue that we really should kind of start taking care of.
And here's a faith booster that Jimmy talks about in his book. We go to the cross, and this is in every area across the board, but we're applying it to the faith fit concept here. You take your burdens before the Lord. Every day you pray, Lord, assist me in my weight loss programs, assist me in my health. And you take that burden. We're supposed to lay down all our burdens at the cross, not pick them back up again and walk away. And this is a point that you discuss.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. We see a lot of times our health as, well, I'll say this. It doesn't take faith to be physically fit. But if you have faith, you should try to be physically fit. You know, all the things that we do, you know, pushing away from the table a little sooner than later, or turning the television off a few minutes early to take a walk around the block with your family, those small things can be seen as sacrifices, you know, as means of praise. You know, if our health is a means of praise, and if praise in other aspects of our life, if praise demands a sacrifice of us, then our health can be a means of praise, and that health demands a sacrifice. What's it going to cost us? Is it going to cost, okay, listen, I'm going to push away from the table. You know what, I'm satisfied. I don't have to overindulge. Or, you know, I am going to take that walk, or I'm going to get up a few minutes early, spend some time with the Lord, and do some exercise, you know, because it's really what we're called. It's a discipline issue. And you know what, it's not about weight loss so much as it is, you know, if you lose weight, great. If you lower your blood pressure, awesome. But those things are just byproducts of obedience. They're not necessarily
Yes.
the goals, but if they happen, that's awesome.
I love the way you bring in the faith aspect and the way you draw from scriptural characters. For example, you talk about Daniel and his training, his secular training at the time with the Babylonian training, and how difficult that it would have been under King Nebuchadnezzar to actually say, no, I am not going to partake in those foods that are offered to idols. That would have taken a lot of discipline and restraint.
Yeah, you know, and that's the great thing about this first Pray Fit, this first book. We really try, and throughout is really connect and really associate ourselves with men and women who made those difficult decisions based on who we have inside. You know, I was actually on a quick story. I was on the set of Extreme Makeover Home Edition with Mr. Tyler Perry, and
Yes.
I see him knock on that door, and the people came to the door, and they just couldn't believe who was there. And he says, you know what? You don't have to live here anymore. And just you talk about gut wrenching, you know. And it dawned on me when we ask Him into our heart and lives, you know, He doesn't bring a wrecking ball. He brings a suitcase. He says, you know what? You don't have to live here anymore alone. And and so when we have Him in us, we say, you know what? He made me. I'm going to take care of what He made to get me from point A to B. You know, He's going to give me a new body someday, but the one I give Him at the end of this life, the one I give Him in return of the new one, I hope He's proud of the way I've maintained it. You know, and again, it's not about how you look, but it's just the paradigm shift of how we view our life and our health and live abundantly. It's how we were designed.
Overeating, indulging in junk food, that has a huge psychological component to it. You address a very important component in your book, being transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah, it really does. We need to have a paradigm shift of how we view food. You know, at the Treasury Department, the counterfeit division, you know, they don't study counterfeit bills every day on end. What they do is they study the real deal, so that when a counterfeit bill crosses their desk, they know it. They know that that is not the real deal. And that's what I think we need to do with our food. We need to study and learn. It's time for the believers to really learn how to incorporate all kinds of foods into our plate. You know, our plates are too big. We eat with our eyes. You know, and so we need to shrink those plates, have a balanced meal, healthy fats, healthy proteins, healthy carbs. Learn what a genuine plate looks like. So when a counterfeit comes along, we know it. And I think it's that education. It's those sacrifices. It's time that if there's a group of people 10, 20, 50 years from now that can be seen as the group that led a way to a healthier world, it should be the believer. It should be, because we know what we're called to do. It's a discipline. It's a discipline issue. So yeah, food, it's definitely one of those things that we have to grasp hold of.
Now you really glorify what God has created in your book, because you go back to Genesis and you talk about the creation of all the fruit trees and everything that God has given us. And this really takes a lot of discipline, as you're talking about, but also focus on how we see food. I'm being honest here. At the end of the day, you might be stressed out, and it's very easy for me personally, I don't know about you, to just grab that bag of chips as soon as you go home and then hit the refrigerator with that ice cream and then just finish it off with some nice, delicious chocolate or caramel. I mean, let's face it, it's easy to do. But you talk in your book about God's creation in the raw sense. So give us a bit of a tip there.
Yes, well, you know, you need to fortify the fridge and the pantry with obviously good, wholesome foods, balanced foods. But listen, having cheat meals is not bad. It actually helps the metabolism. You know, as we know, it helps jumpstart, you know, our bodies. But it's actually being prepared to make those good decisions, you know, on a daily basis, you know, shopping correctly, and, you know, but if you are going to have a bad meal, you know, the safest time to have a bad meal is right after a workout. Right after one of these workouts that I have in the book, that's the safest time to actually have a bad meal. A lot of people think you're going to ruin your workout if you have a cheat meal, but no, have a good workout, and if you want to splurge a little bit, that's actually
not while you're on the treadmill. That was another one too that you talk about in your book. Imagine this picture. Somebody on a treadmill. Now, he's seen this. Somebody actually on a treadmill with a bag of Cheetos. And you say in your book that people do this. I mean, if you think about it, that's what we're doing to ourselves.
Well, you know, to be honest, you know, if someone's going to be eating Cheetos, I'd rather them be eating Cheetos on a treadmill than not. But anyway, that's a
Good
different
training.
story. You know, but no, it's really, you know, have those smart choices available.
Yes.
All the time, snacks all the time, and we're not carbs. You know, a lot of people are afraid of carbs. We teach how to incorporate carbs because carbs are the preferred fuel of the cell. Our bodies do best when we have all kinds of healthy carbs, healthy fats, and healthy proteins. So it's not an exclusive. It's actually an incorporative type of plan to where we really kind of learn you know, how to put your body in the strongest position possible, because that's how we want to be. We want to be up, energetic. We want to be full of energy throughout the day and strong, you know, and sleep well. And you do all of those things when you're constantly filling your cells, your body, with combinations of foods. Sure, we teach when the best times to have certain things, but again, if you have a carb meal at night, doesn't mean you're going to store that as fat. But we teach that carbs are friends.
Give us an example of some friendly carbs.
Well, like oatmeal, slow to digest kinds of carbs, the kinds of carbs that are going to stay in your system and give you plenty of energy throughout the day. You know, oatmeal, Ezekiel bread is also a very good carb. It's actually a pure protein as well because it's fortified with amino acids. But you know, those kinds of breads, the long grain rice, those are good carbs that you should have you know, throughout. Simple carbs are also necessary. Sometimes, you know, those that replenish the system right after a workout, like I had mentioned, a simple carb, even white bread at times, white rice, you know, cream of wheat is also a very fast to digest carb. You can have that right after right after you work out. So, but no, it's important to have those carbs, and it's fine to have pasta at times. We can't be afraid of food.
Yes. Now, when we get up, is that the time we should be exercising, or whatever suits our schedules?
That's it. It's whenever you can get it in. I'm asked all the time, what's the best thing for me to do to get into shape, and when should I do it? Well, the best thing for you to get into shape is whatever you'll do. People will work at what they like to play at. People will work at what they like to play at. So it's important to find something. I could say, hey, cross-country skiing is the best thing you need to be doing. But if it's not practical or feasible, it's the worst advice a physiologist could provide. It's what you'll enjoy doing. And like I talk about in the book, the density principle, more work, constantly, you know, asking yourself, you know, to do more. The body will only change according to the level at which you stress it. So if this day, you know, you do a particular exercise, let's say push-ups and body weight squats, the next day try and do a little bit more than you did the day before. So today's best was yesterday's. You know, today's quest was yesterday's best. So that's kind of the concept. Yes. So day in and day out, asking yourself a little bit more and make sure it's fun. But in terms of time of day, listen, if you're a morning person and you feel better in the morning, that's when you hit it. But you really have to, you get it in when you can get it in.
Your book is fantastic for know-how. And the thing I like about it too is, if you're going to the gym, that's wonderful. But this is not what you necessarily advocate in your book. You talk about using your own body as a weight resistance mechanism, and however exercise suits the individual.
Correct. You know, there are a lot of gizmos and gadgets and you know, workouts out there, but you know, the body weight is a phenomenal you know, use of resistance. You know, it's not easy to manipulate the body. In fact, what we teach in the book is really to teach people to strengthen themselves with just their body weight. So.
Yes, Jimmy, this is fantastic. And you're going to have to get a copy of that book to really learn those techniques. It's called Pray Fit, and it's not something you're going to want to miss